Brandy from Brandy Burrow Astrology, back with Ellie Adams from Saturn Season Astrology. Welcome back, Ellie.
Thank you for having me back. It's been a while. I'm stoked to be here. I'm stoked that we're doing this again.
It has been a while. Like, we had eclipses, we had Mercury retrograde start. Like, it's been a while because last time we did it was last time we recorded was like way before these astrological events.
Yes.
So happy to be collaborating again.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we're back today with another forensic astrology or astrology surrounding the events of the OJ Simpson murders, because we're recording this April 18th, 2024. OJ died like 8 days ago.
Good fucking riddance.
You know, that is one celebrity death that when it made news, like the memes, like, did you notice on social media? Like, yeah, there.
And I laughed at a lot of them.
I shared some. Yeah, it was interesting, the reaction. You didn't see too many people upset. No. But it did kind of bring back the reason why people aren't upset. It kind of brought back the memories of this whole the OJ trial, the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, and those, I mean, nothing fucking funny about those, right? Like,
no, not at all.
Oh, they're terrible. But I thought it'd be like a good time to do an episode on the charts surrounding the event of those murders. And I call them the OJ murders, but OJ.
Yeah. And didn't you say, because we had talked about doing this one like a year ago.
And I thought we had.
We're like looking through your channel, looking through my channels, trying to, where are the fucking OJ murders?
Like, I swear in my mind, we have recorded about this. So if this is a rerun, we're not. I couldn't find the charts in my database, but I know I had looked at them. So I don't know. Maybe I had dreamed that. I don't know. But apparently we can't find evidence that we have done this episode. So here, we're going to do them today. Look at the charts. And yeah, so OJ, he was acquitted of the murders, but he was found civilly liable.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, last I read, his estate's probably going to have to pay up because those families have gotten like nothing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so maybe they will now. I hope they do, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, on top of that, he wrote a book called If I Did It, which I can be tacky, but that's fucking real tacky. Like, you know,
especially for someone who didn't do it, you know, like that's weird. Like the mother of your children. That's weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's bizarre. So he wrote the book. And then interestingly, the Goldman family sued him and got the rights to that book. So they're the ones cashing in on it. So kind of interesting how that worked out. Good for them. Yeah. Good for them. And then real quick before we start, I am going to get Wikipedia up just in case we have any questions about.
I'll join you.
Case. Yeah, I'm just going to pull it up. I should have done that before I hit record, but you know. Okay. We're good. So I'm going to start. I mean, I don't know. I think everyone kind of knows the deets of this case, but kind of give a little background. OJ Simpson, Nicole Brown Simpson were married, had 2 children, married for about 7 years. Documented cases of where OJ had beat on her, had physically, emotionally, verbally abused her. Police had shown up on multiple times, found her with injuries. And so, I mean, this is just documented fact.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
An absolute piece of shit.
Yeah. Pretty bad. And so by the time of the murder, they were divorced. I do believe they were a little off and on. Oh my gosh. I read that her parents, okay, at one point she had left him because she was beaten so bad, the police had to come. Her parents talked her into reconciling because OJ was helping her parents like broker an investment deal and it was going to make them a bunch of money. And it was like, you need to get back with them.
That's sad.
Yeah. But at the time of the murder, she's living on her own. They're divorced. Ron Goldman was really just at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, at the time of the trial, the media made it out that they were a couple or that they were dating or romantically linked. Everyone says they were just friends. And she said, like, there's no evidence that they had any romantic connection. He had come over that night because Nicole and her mom had eaten at the restaurant where he worked earlier in the day, and her mom left her glasses. And so she calls up to the restaurant, or maybe her sister did. Someone in the family calls up to the restaurant and says, our mother left her glasses. Ron Goldman volunteers to bring the glasses to her place so that they have to go get them. So he basically shows up to deliver these glasses, and this happens.
Yeah.
So earlier that day, she'd eaten at that restaurant. Now, she did, I believe, went to a dance recital for her daughter and took her daughter and a friend, which I believe they were around 9, took them out for ice cream at 8 o'clock. So that's the last time they're seen, or she is seen, you know, out in public. So I have an 8 o'clock chart. And then it's believed that she and Ron Goldman were murdered around 10 p.m. Got a chart for that. And then the bodies are found a little bit after midnight. So let's start with the charts.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. What? Okay, I can't read this. Let me see if this is the right one. Yes, this is 8 p.m. So this is the last time she's seen, again, going out for ice cream with her daughter and her friends. This is the last stop before she goes home for the night.
Okay.
Ellie, you want to take it from here?
Wheel, okay. Like the first things that stand out. Moon in the 8th house.
Such a deathy placement.
It is. I'll also say the ascendant conjunct the galactic center stands out.
See that a lot, don't we? Or like just planets, or that galactic center seems to come up with crimes.
It does, and especially like ones that feel kind of either weird or abrupt, or yeah. I mean, well, this, I mean, I don't know if weird is the right word, because the dynamics within that relationship, like the dynamics were ripe, unfortunately ripe for something like this. Abrupt would certainly fit.
I think so. I think it is kind of weird too, as far as like the outcome.
Well, yeah, now that's that good point. The outcome is that good point about that. Good point.
Because there was so much evidence, but it's like, yeah, I feel like that can be filed under weird. Yeah. So the ascendant on the galactic center, or close to the galactic center, and you know, ruled by that Jupiter and Scorpio.
Which is, you know, Scorpio energy, like you know, it can be very extreme. It can be there can be a violent nobody think I'm talking shit about Scorpios or anything, but you know, there can be like, you know, there can be there's power there, and sometimes that can be like vengeful power, rageful power, intensity. Yeah.
Which anyone who has seen or read about the injuries, or you know, the way they were killed, it's absolutely brutal.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah, and that Jupiter's retrograde too.
Yes, it is.
And so it's like, and then let's go to the descendant, Gemini, ruled by Mercury in Cancer, also retrograde.
Yes, it is.
It's like, you know, when you see a forensic chart and you got those rulerships in retrograde, you're just kind of like, oh, man. You know, it's like.
There's also a part of me that wonders, now that you mentioned that, because I, for some reason, didn't catch that before, the retrograde Jupiter thing. I'm almost wondering if this could allude to him being kind of, OJ being kind of protected in some way. Which in a sense, you know, the weirdness of the outcome. Because I do have this, I think I mentioned it before, I do have this theory that like when you got something conjunct the GC and then you've got that Jupiter retrograde, there does seem to be some sort of protectiveness, whether for the good or the bad, but it is interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And with the descendant being retrograde, I mean, that's really not
Yeah.
a great testimony that I want to say that someone will be caught or at
Yeah.
least held accountable in this case, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but the sun sitting right on that descendant, it bothers me. I do know why. That's because, the sun, it lights up, it's visible. It's like, to me, this is like, okay, the person responsible is in plain sight.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little unsettling.
It is. I think a sad thing about this chart, this is when she's taking her daughter and a friend out for ice cream to celebrate the recital. And then you look at that fifth house where we find children, and it has that Mars and detriment, those kids were at home when this happened.
Which is all the more tragic, unsettling. Yeah.
I do have questions, and maybe viewers might know this. I mean, it's such a huge case. There's so many little details involved, but the Saturn in the third house,
Mhm.
where you find communication or talking or some, some form of communication. Was there an argument? Like, what happened that day or very recently between her and OJ? Because the Saturn there makes me think there's some sort of argument or disagreement or
It's also trying that Mercury. Could that could this be even alluding to calling the restaurant to talk about something left behind
possibly.
with the retrograde Mercury and the
Mhm.
and Pisces energy, where Saturn is kind of being, I don't know, I forgetful could be you
It is.
could
It's a little wishy-washy.
yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder if that could, I mean, it could mean something else too, but I wonder if it's reflective of that as well.
Yeah. What do you make of that Venus in Cancer in the eighth? I mean, it's in a different sign than the moon, but they're in about an 8-degree orb. Do you think that's just Ron Goldman showing up here in this chart?
Could be. It could be. I'm looking, let me see.
Now, I mean, Venus is like romantic relationships, but it can also be friendships. It's just like relationships in general. So I'm like, I wonder if that, or if there's a misunderstanding there. I mean, Mercury is retrograde,
Could be. It could
and
be a
Killer thinks he is a boyfriend or a romantic interest.
could it somehow be the kids ruling the fifth house?
Could be. Yeah. And it's in the sign of family.
Uh-huh.
I
Like how do I want to word what I want to say? Like since they weren't hurt. Well, I mean, they were hurt, but they weren't physically hurt,
Mhm.
kind of being hidden away. I don't know. I wonder if,
I think that's a good point. Yeah.
but it could also be him too. I mean, because it seemed to me like from what I'd read about their relationship, it did seem like it was close, not like a romantic relationship, but it did seem it's from what I've read, it seemed like it was close. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, they'd only known each other for about 6 weeks. They would frequently have lunch together. He would borrow her car because I think she drove like a Ferrari. I think it's a
yeah.
Ferrari. I'm not a big car person, but yeah, and he would drive it sometimes to go like run errands, and there definitely was a good friendship, even though it was pretty fresh, pretty new.
Yeah, it seemed new, but it also seemed like it was a
I wonder
like
if it was flirty.
it very well could have been. I mean, but I mean, you could totally flirt with somebody and not, not have any intention of anything else.
That's true. Absolutely. So should we go on to should we look at, did you bring your fixed star book?
No, it's still in it's I'm in the process of moving. So it's not here. I have the rulership book, but I don't,
Okay.
sorry about that.
Okay, so I ran real quick and got my fixed stars book because I don't know with this one I'm thinking
Yeah, no, I'll get you.
there's some kind of fixed star going on. So
Look
let's
at
go.
Venus.
Let's look.
Because I'm gonna be useful here, just kind of sitting here like, ugh.
I'm sharing the wrong chart. Guys, it's Mercury retrograde. You're just gonna have to deal with me for a minute here. Where is my chart?
Brandy lost the chart.
I found it. Okay. So you want, I'm sorry, you say Venus?
Yeah, since we were just talking about it.
Yeah, let's start there, which is at 27 degrees Cancer. Okay, we got 25 degrees Cancer. 25 degrees, 47 minutes. I think it's pretty close. Let's see what it says. Violence,
Okay.
sudden success, then disaster, occult, politics, dissipation.
Okay.
Well, the violence fits.
It does.
I want to look at Jupiter.
Do it.
Let's do it. Okay, what do we want here? Let's see. We got 6 degrees. Kambalia. I'm gonna actually try to pronounce it. Kambalia. Here we go. Deep research of any kind, police investigation, espionage, and esoteric subjects.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna go to 8 degrees Cancer. We're gonna go to Mercury, which is the perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest we got is 9 degrees. Acute sensitivity, creative imagination, artistic skills, writing, and injuries to feet.
Okay.
So there we go.
Sensitivities.
Sensitivities.
That
I would say whoever did this was definitely sensitive.
Yeah.
Hypersensitive.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is last time they're seen out and about. Let's go to what's going on at 10 p.m. because this is the time it's estimated, that they were killed because a neighbor reported hearing
scream or something.
Well, I think they heard the dog barking, and then I think the dog was found wandering around. So,
wasn't there somebody though that also recorded like a scream or a yell or something, or maybe not recorded it but heard it?
Possibly.
I thought I read that somewhere.
Say that's familiar. That happened in the Manson murders for sure. I think it happened. I think so.
I think it was. I could be wrong. I would have sworn that I read something about that though. They maybe didn't record it, but they heard.
They heard some commotion of some sorts.
Yeah, I think it was Goldman. They heard. It was like a man's. It was a. But I could be wrong. I could have hallucinated that entire thing.
I bet that's right. I wouldn't think this would be totally
silent.
Yeah. Okay. And it's suspected the murders took maybe about 5 minutes. It was pretty
fast.
Pretty fast. So this is 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And, if we're looking at the previous rulers here from the other chart, Mercury's now in the 6th house, which, 6th house is like where you're watching someone or stalking.
Yes.
I know that was a theory that was put out there, but that OJ was hiding and watching.
I could see it here in this. And you also have the moon in the 7th house with Cancer on the cusp of the 7th house. Who did this? It feels to me felt like they were on their own turf.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this wasn't his house.
He probably felt like it. He probably felt like he owned her.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he did.
And maybe he did feel like, the money probably came from him. This was a rented place. Yeah. I believe she was renting it. But still, he was probably funding it, He
probably was. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that Neptune? Right on the ascendant here.
Well, there's Neptune can be kind of, illusionary or delusional. Now this is represent, the ascendant would be the victims. But I do wonder if this plays in with him at all. I feel like I do think it's him, so I'm just gonna go with, this, he's the one that that did this.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it somehow ties in with him. Yeah.
I do. I also wonder if it's, Neptune can cause some fogginess, like misunderstanding, being right there on the victims, like, and it is a total misunderstanding, right? Like Ron Goldman's there just dropping off glasses, and it's not like, but yeah. I also feel like it's retrograde as well. I just feel like this is another indication that, there's not going to be justice technically, like
something's not going to be clear.
Yeah.
So
police, when they find the bodies, go to OJ's house, which is not very far away. It's in the same, it's in Brentwood.
Yeah.
Like same kind of area of Santa Monica, I guess. But when they arrived at OJ's house, he had went to go take a flight to Chicago. Like he wasn't home, but they saw the Bronco and there was blood smeared on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of evidence that's, it was kind of overwhelming evidence that it was probably him, but yeah. Yeah. And then, you look at the fourth house, kind of the end of the outcome here. It's the home. And you got that Mars that's not placed well in Taurus. Right by the South Node.
By the South Node. And it's also one of the rulers of the midheaven.
Yeah.
That Mars. Which also kind of feels like the perpetrator coming to the yeah.
Yeah. And you look at 10th house too for police, yeah, how they're handling the whole crime investigation, and it's being ruled by that Mars and Taurus, which is just not good.
Yeah, in a chart like this, it's not necessarily what you want to see.
It's not a motivated Mars, you know what I mean? It's not like, no, it's very slow, and it's very kind of lazy. And now you have Mars and Taurus in your birth chart. I'm not forensic. I have Mars and Taurus in my birth chart. And those words probably would apply to me. But I'm not saying this is for everyone. I actually know people who have that who are very athletic. But, I'm just saying, as far as looking at a police investigation, that is not a planet and sign combination that I would want to see, Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to look at the chart for when the bodies were found?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So I believe this is it. This is when the bodies were found. I believe the neighbors are the ones who stumbled upon the crime scene, and I think it had to do with the dog.
Yeah.
But here you go. This is the time the charts are found. We have that Jupiter, Mercury axis, different signs, but the same rulership going on here.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Jupiter is now in the 8th house of death.
And you also have that Saturn, which can be like the bodies in the first. It just stands out.
I don't want to get graphic here, but I am.
Okay.
Saturn and Pisces, when we're looking at the bodies, and it's in such a watery sign, normally you see bodies in water, or these stabbings were so horrific that they were found literally in pools of their own blood. Now I know that's graphic, but I just want to show how literal the astrology can be sometimes.
Yeah.
Now Chiron there, I don't bring in Chiron very often. It has to like on the forensic charts, it has to like jump out at me. It's jumping out at me on this one. Oh my gosh, I have this. No, it's not whole sign. I panicked for a minute. I was like, is this whole sign? But you know, that 0 degree cusp in Virgo, and then you got Chiron in 4 degrees, like in a sick way. And I think this is sick. I'm not saying this is, but like for the perpetrator, there's something healing about this.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Very painful for other people, but yes, I think you're probably right about that, which
It's
is
sick.
Yeah, it is fucking sick. Yeah.
I don't know how else to interpret. You guys out there watching, what do you make of Chiron right there? But
yeah, I'd be curious here too.
yeah. But you know, right now in this chart as well, you know, when you look at the 10th house police, if we want to go by the new rulership here, it's in Sagittarius, also ruled by that Jupiter in the 8th. Stuff's hidden. This is the LA area.
Yeah.
This comes up a lot in forensic cases. I don't know if we're just always in Los Angeles crimes, but the police, and I'm not saying police are bad, but LA police,
they have a history of fucky shit.
like it's you know, with the crimes that we're looking at, there tends to be like this commonality of things not quote getting solved or not investigated well, or contamination. Like we get all these sorts of things.
Yeah, and that is that. Yeah, I mean, there's something. There was another, I can't remember which one, another chart we just looked at where the 10th house ruler was in the 8th house as well. So it's like, yeah, and the location, it does make sense that they're, yeah, not out of the realm of possibility.
I don't know if I want to get into evolutionary astrology here, but you know, you can't help but to ignore the Pluto on the North Node during this time.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna let everyone kind of make their own interpretation of that, but my gosh, that's intense.
Yes. It is. I'll just
Yes, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm just gonna keep my
Everyone just make your own. Yeah, you know, when we're looking at North Node, it's like I use a simple term, karmic direction, or you know, kind of maybe some higher meanings of things. But and you got a planet like Pluto right there. It's just wow.
yeah. And even like it's a little wide, but opposing Mars like that.
Yeah. And I think Mars is pretty close to the South Node. I mean, it's 8 degrees apart too, but it's like you got that lower and higher octave energy, like the Mars Pluto right there with the nodes. Yeah. So, and I do have OJ's chart if we want to look at it real quick, just to kind of see what kind of person he is. Now, people get mad because we kind of snicker and laugh. We're not laughing at the murders here. I just want to be clear. So don't get mad at us. It's just the whole OJ thing that we're kind of snickering about, you know.
Yeah, OJ being a bitch.
Ellie's my fave. Okay, so here we have OJ Simpson, born July 9th, 1947. I forgot he was a Cancer. 8:08 a.m. in San Francisco. And this, guys, I'm sorry, I was lazy again. I have Mars and Taurus. That was a joke. But I didn't put his info into my database. I just like screenshotted the chart from astro.com just to kind of make things fast. So
oh, no shit. He's got both retrograde Jupiter and Mercury too.
Is
that right?
Yeah.
Look at huh.
How he sure does.
Sorry, I kind of cut you off, but I just noticed I was like, what is that? Ah,
Okay, I was just rambling about lazily having this chart. No, what a great, I don't even think that's a coincidence. You know, it's not uncommon for when someone does a crime like this that they're triggered, right? And like we do see a lot of times in their astrological charts events happening, you know.
or even in the same signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different degrees, but same signs. We've got that Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio and that Mercury retrograde in Cancer.
Okay. This is time where we're going to pause the recording and run some transits. Wow. Hold up. All right, we're back. So I have put his info in my database because Ellie noticed that Jupiter and Mercury are retrograde in OJ's chart and in the same signs as the murder. So we have to run the transit. So here we go. Let's look at this together.
Okay.
It's still fresh on my database here. Okay. OJ's chart in the middle, transits of the 10 p.m. June 12th, 94 at the time the murders likely happened.
Okay.
Oh, look at that Jupiter on his Chiron.
That stands out. Definitely does.
Saturn.
So does that. And I know it happens once a year, but it would happen once a year, but that Sun conjunct Uranus.
Yeah.
Feels very triggering, or like it could be like this might just be a triggering time of year in general for him. He might have found that I don't know, felt more triggered, because Uranus can function like a damn trigger at times.
It can. And let me tell you, that North Node of his is in Gemini. And yeah, that's going to happen once a year. But, you know, North Node is like very uncomfortable, can be agitating because we're supposed to be going a certain direction with it. It goes against the grain, right?
Yeah, it's something you don't come into this lifetime familiar with.
So I would think Gemini season kind of tough for this guy.
Yeah, I would too.
And he's got Mars in the sign. Now they're not like within orb of the sun, but there's something going on here. The moon is on Saturn. And yes, this happens once a month. But my God, when the moon and Saturn get together, I mean, every month when like the moon goes into Virgo, like it feels like opposition to me because my Saturn's in Virgo. It magnifies like things that feel hard or challenging, or, you know, Saturn is a place where we need patience, and the moon messing with it kind of makes it opposite, at least, you know, from.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And damn, I don't know, I'm kind of just looking at his chart.
That Pluto transit over the 4th, you know, that's a long transit, but you know, when we see individuals with Pluto going over the 4th, there's changes within the home. There can be changes within family. Divorce, not uncommon. Now, not everybody gets divorced, so I don't want you to like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we can see he's clearly gone through a few years of things with the family.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Now, his chart ruler is the sun.
Yes.
In the 12th, which is like it's what they say steers the ship in life. You know, it's kind of what drives you. And he's got that 12th house where you find imprisonment, where you find self-sabotage.
Yes. And he's also, you know, a first house Saturn person. I was actually talking about this with somebody earlier. As a first house Saturn person myself, we tend to, if there is something that is getting in our way, it tends to be ourselves. My guess would be, might have been the case with him as well.
Yeah.
And that Pluto conjunct that Saturn. I don't know. It feels like it was. Damn, that's loud. Fucking plane was like,
oh, I couldn't even hear it.
Good, because it was loud. It feels like I feel like if he got in his own way, he really got in his own way.
Yeah, it feels like, and not for everyone, because this can go a couple different ways, but it does, that Saturn Pluto conjunction is, I would imagine, very hard to be disciplined, yet at times makes you very disciplined, if that makes sense. But sometimes it can be very destructive, I would think.
I would too. Just depends on how you want to utilize that
Yeah.
energy there.
Now, he passed away in Aries season. That chart ruler was exalted.
Ah,
because he's ruled by the sun, as far as a chart. Kind of interesting.
that is interesting.
Yeah. So there you have it. Very interesting. I mean, I think definitely this is a day where he's got a lot of transits going on. He's got a lot of influences, and I think the word triggering is probably good.
Chiron squares his nodes. Transit Chiron squares his nodes.
Yeah, so transit Chiron, which is right here.
Would square those nodes in his natal.
Yeah,
I was looking for, I was trying to find, I was like, where? So it probably was in some sick kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Healing for him. Gross.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it. There's the forensic charts. Yeah, I mean, I know usually we're like, so do you think he did it? Do you think this person did it? I think we all know what's going on here.
Yeah. Yes. I think yes.
If you have a different opinion, you can comment, be respectful. We can have a conversation, yeah. Let us know. I don't know. But anyways, there's the charts. And now that he has passed away, those families, the Brown and the Goldman family, might get some compensation financially because they did win the civil suit. They never got any money from OJ while he was alive, but now the estate might be paying out. So hopefully they're compensated.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully they are.
Well, Ellie, please tell everyone where they can find you.
Hey, you can find me on YouTube at Saturn Season Astrology. You can find me at my website, SaturnSeason.com. I do astrology readings, all that good shit. And you can find me on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology. And Brandy, where can you be found?
Well, I can be found at brandyburrowastrology.com and Brandy Burrow Astrology on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I think Facebook I'm under Brandy Burrow Astrology and Tarot or something. But anyway, you'll find me. Ellie, thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed the content and the astrology in this video. If you did, please like it and subscribe. And then go to Ellie's channel and do the same thing because she's awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to be on my channel. We're going to film this next. We're going to do the death of Michael Jackson. We were trying to think of something that was kind of similar, and I was trying to think of a murder that was similar. There's really not, but the media circus surrounding is a little similar to it. So we're going to look at that on my channels. Come check it out if you want to.
I look forward to it. All right. Thanks, everyone.